Good evening. People living in Woodall Spa have been told that a major decontamination of local woodland will have to take place after 150 mustard gas canisters were found. Tonight, a public meeting heard that all of the canisters have been recovered following searches by the police along with the Army and Navy bomb disposal experts. Our environment correspondent Paul Murphy has this report.
For 12 days, the land around this quiet woodland community has been at the centre of intense investigation. Tonight's public meeting was told that more than 140 mustard gas canisters had been recovered from a local lake and from a wood. But the woodland remains contaminated.
At this time, we're not allowing the public to go back into the area because we want to satisfy ourselves that it is completely safe. There is still some contamination in the soil and we're dealing with that as well now.
It all began on October the 1st. Rawton Moor woods were cordoned off. The two people who discovered the mustard gas were taken to hospital, suffering from minor burns and breathing problems. 3 days later, 3 people were arrested on suspicion of possessing a noxious substance and later bailed. On October the 5th, Army and Navy bomb disposal squads were brought in. Stixwold Lake was searched nearby. Water samples were taken away for lab tests. Drones later came and sonar equipment to search for more canisters. On October the 10th, 11 boxes of mustard gas were found. The area remains cordoned off. The meeting heard that the canisters were most likely dumped by soldiers decades ago and that further investigations of the area are now being planned. Is it your suspicion that there are more mustard gas canisters in the wider area?
I don't think so. I think they would have there's a lot were found in one place. I can't imagine them doing a few here and there because they knew mustard gas wasn't a very nice chemical.
The woodland site will remain cordoned off as investigations begin into the contamination.
It has to be thorough, and for the residents of Woodall Spa and also for the visitors who use these woods. There's a scout camp there. There's all sorts of implications that the place has to be thoroughly safe.
Now, this is a community that is surrounded by picturesque walks and nature trails, and local residents will want reassurances that it is now safe to go out for a wander in the woods. And tonight, many said the public meeting had given that reassurance.
Very professional and very informative.
Very good to hear everyone working together. I feel quite safe.
Do you think people have been generally very appreciative of the work that's been done?
Absolutely, and I think appreciative of the fact that there's been a meeting held.
The immediate threat has been dealt with, but wider investigations into other dumped ordnance could take many more months and present further challenges.
Well, Paul is still in Woodall Spa tonight. I mean, is there any idea of how long it will take to make this woodland near Woodall Spa safe again?
No, Peter, because there's a reluctance to put a timescale on it because the authorities still want to assess the size of the problem. There are two things going on. The first is the decontamination of the woodland behind me. That will begin in the coming weeks. But the second thing is a bigger assessment of a wider area involving experts from all over the country with specialist equipment looking for dumped ordnance, looking for dumped stuff from the war, because they know that the culture at the time was to bury it in the ground and forget about it. The message really to residents tonight is that the immediate threat has been dealt with. They are safe. Stay away from this contaminated area. But the question is whether the mustard gas dumping in the ground here is just one component in a bigger problem for this community.
Paul, thanks very much.